Last week we studied about the Battle of Jericho. The children of Israel did exactly as God had commanded, and the walls came tumbling down. They killed every living thing except Rahab and her family. They burned the city, only taking the silver, gold, iron, and brass, which was given to God as the first fruits, since it was the first battle in the Promised Land. In chapter 7, we see that Israel went to battle against Ai. Should have been an easy defeat, and the Israelites only took a small contingency of men. The result was that a few men of Ai came after the Israelites and chased them back into their camp. They were defeated and humiliated. Joshua fell on his face, crying out to God. God told him someone had violated his command about taking spoils from Jericho, and that was the reason for the defeat. Joshua then called together all the people by tribe and began going through each tribe and each family. When he got to the tribe of Judah and came to Achan, he confessed that he had taken a Babylonian garment, 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold worth 50 shekels. Achan and all his family were stoned to death, and his animals and possessions burned. God had specifically instructed them not to take any of the spoils from Jericho, saying that they would be cursed if they did. The punishment was severe for disobeying God. In chapter 8, God told Joshua once again to go attack the city of Ai, and their king in the city would be delivered to them. This time, God told Joshua they could take the spoil and cattle. Joshua's battle plan was to send some chosen men to hide out behind the city. Joshua would then lead the men to the front of the city and surround the city on 3 sides. When the army of Ai came out after them, they would turn and run as they had before until they were all drawn out of the city. Then the men behind the city would attack with the men with Joshua, and they would overcome the city, kill all the soldiers and inhabitants, take the spoils, and destroy the city with fire. They captured the king, brought him to Joshua. He was hanged and then buried at the entrance to the city. They then traveled to the north to Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim. Joshua then built an altar and offered sacrifice to the Lord. Joshua read the 10 Commandments unto all the Israelites and some strangers who were among them. They renewed their covenant to God. In chapter 9, we learn that the word spread among all the people of Canaan about the fall of Jericho, and now all the southern cities came together to go to war with Israel. The people of Gibeon devised a plan where they would deceive the Israelites into believing they were from a far land by dressing in old clothes and carrying old wineskins and bread. They told Joshua they needed protection. Joshua made a treaty with them to protect them, but 3 days later he learned that they had been deceived. For fear that God would punish them if they broke the treaty or the commitment to them and kill them, Joshua instead made them servants of Israel. Gibeon was a great city. Today's lesson focuses on chapter 10. The kings of the other cities learned that Gibeon had made a treaty with Israel, and they decided to attack Gibeon. If you will now read with me the scripture that's the focus of today's lesson, Joshua 10, verses 6 through 14. And the man of Gibeon sent to Joshua at the camp at Gilgal, saying, Do not forsake your servants. Come up to us quickly, save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites who dwell in the mountains have gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said to Joshua, Do not fear them, for I have delivered them into your hand. Not a man of them shall stand before you. And Joshua therefore came up on them suddenly, having marched all night from Gilgal. So the Lord routed them before Israel, killed them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, chased them along the road that goes to Beth-horon, and struck them down as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And it happened, as they fled before Israel and were on the descent at Beth-horon, that the Lord cast down large hailstones from heaven on them as far as Azekah, and they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than the children of Israel killed with the sword. Then Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the people had revenge upon their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and did not hasten to go down for about a whole day. And there has been no day like that, before it or after it, that the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. The men of Gibeon sent word to Joshua at Gilgal that the 5 kings of the Amorites were preparing to attack them. Joshua went with his army to defend Gibeon. They marched all night. God told Joshua that he would defeat them all. Joshua came on them suddenly. His army was marching from the east, and the sun was in the eyes of the enemy. Joshua fought all day, but requested of the Lord that he extend daylight so they could be defeated. God made the sun to stand still and the moon to stay for a whole day. The 5 kings hid in a cave, and Joshua gave instructions to roll a huge stone in front of the opening so they couldn't get out. Once the people had been defeated, Joshua gave instructions to let the kings out. He commanded his soldiers to put their foot on the neck of the kings and reminded them of God's command to fear not nor be dismayed, but to be strong and of good courage. Joshua then killed the 5, put their bodies back in the cave, and rolled a huge stone to seal them in. Joshua marched with his army and took city by city, killing the people and their king. At one point, God hurled hailstones from the sky, and the hailstones killed more men than the soldiers killed. God intervened on Israel's behalf. Today, God's people still face challenges which may be different than those that the Israelites faced when they entered the Promised Land, but we serve the same God Joshua and the Israelites served. God is still in control. He's more than able to keep his commitments to us and to answer our prayers. He expects us to keep our commitment to him and to be obedient to him. He works his purpose in and through us. We never know how God may use our faithfulness to inspire others to commitment and action for him.